Welcome to the Filmcast review of Fight or Flight. I'm going to read the plot summary of this movie from the internet. A mercenary takes on the job of tracking a high value asset known only as the Ghost on an international flight. Realizing the plane is filled with assassins assigned to kill them both, the pair must work together in a fight for their lives. End quote. Fight or Flight. Josh Hartnett back in the saddle as the main star. You know, we truly are in the midst of a Hartnett-assance. Devindra Hardwar, I'm very curious. What did you think of Fight or Flight?
Yeah, as I alluded to earlier, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's a really light and breezy little action movie, nice little B movie. I think some things are kind of hilarious about it, like when Katie Sackhoff, who I love, shows up in a thing. It can go badly, can go well. She unfortunately does not get the best project sometimes. I was like, I think she had a lot of fun here. I like her in this movie, but the whole thing, like the set she's in, the guy she's with, the like intelligence dude she's in, it looks hilarious. It looks hilarious. Like
it's not great. It's not great.
One guy has like his work outfit is like you just have a white t-shirt. That's what you had budget for, basically. Like it's hilarious, but the actual setup of it, Hartnett on the plane, action on the plane, I think that's all really fun. I also really liked Charitha Chandran in this too, who has been in Bridgerton. I remember seeing her from Bridgerton, and it's just like a fun setup for an action movie. It's executed pretty well. You can tell, like, oh, you really just have like a set. You have a couple sets, right? You're on this plane, but you're not really going anywhere in this movie. But they do what they can with the material. I think like it's inventive at times. I had more fun watching this than I did with Novocaine, which is a movie I think trying to do similar things. You know, Novocaine also tried to be inventive, but I don't think held up on the action level or like, I don't know, actually being compelling to me. I cared a little bit about this guy, maybe not his relationship or whatever with other people, but it tries to have heart. It tries to do something a little more elevated than a simple B movie, a simple B level action movie, and I appreciate that.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but what I would say is that Josh Hartnett, I think, definitely elevates the movie. Super talented actor. I loved his performance in Trap, and here he's delivering something a little bit different. Where at times he's kind of like wildly out of control and barely hanging on to his faculties. And I think he does a great job. Like he has shown, I think, over the course of last year, he can anchor a movie in a good way. And I just really find him to be a compelling screen presence. We've had so many years in the Hartnett Desert, and now finally we are just luxuriating in the Hartnett-assance, and we should all feel blessed about that. But yeah, in terms of the tone of this movie, I mean, it's clearly not a movie that takes itself very seriously. All that said, Jeff Canada, I'm curious, what did you think about Fight or Flight?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say what I thought about Fight or Flight is best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear about it.
I just feel bad for Josh Hartnett. He hasn't appeared in great art yet. This renaissance can't be what he wants. This film's like the worst kind of fart. Wet.
Wow. Brutal. Also, you're throwing shade at so many movies like Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor and also Oppenheimer. You know?
Well, also that Black Mirror episode where he was really also very good.
Yeah. Jesus, Jeff. Yeah. Everyone's catches strays from this one.
I think you missed a real opportunity here to play your favorite bumper song. Dave's B movies. B movies. Yeah. This is a B movie, and the B is for bad. I thought this movie was very bad. I will agree with you that Josh Hartnett is by far the best part of it.
Mm-hmm.
He brings it. He doesn't think he's in a B movie. He's going for it. And so much charm, so much. I just love his line readings, for lack of a better word. Like I can see what a line that he says when a line comes out of his mouth. I can see it on the page, and like he always attacks dialogue in such an interesting way. It always comes out of his face in a very interesting. Like I wouldn't immediately get to that reading from reading in just the text on the page. And I love actors like that. I think that's Christopher Walken made a whole career out of that, right? It's just lovely to see him work. Unfortunately, this movie is, in my opinion, hot garbage. It's so uninteresting on every level. Hey, you want to see this movie? Go see Bullet Train, or excuse me, not even go. Just watch it at home. Watch Bullet Train. It does everything this movie wants to do way, way, way better. It's just not on a plane. It's on a train.
But also with like 20 times the budget too. Like it's a
but it's a better movie. It's the same amount of time I have to invest. And this movie just, this movie wants to be funny. I never thought it was funny. It wants to be sort of hip and cool. It wants to have awesome action. I didn't think the action was awesome. There's a few moments where I was like, okay, I give it to you, movie. But it establishes, first of all, the way we get into the story is the least interesting way possible. You guys have already talked about Katie Sackhoff and her little bunker. Like that we start the movie there. That's where we start the movie. Is the least interesting part of this movie and the least interesting place to start it. And it immediately made me like despise all of these people. It's baffling that you don't start with Hartnett, or you don't start with the mystery at the center of this movie, which they solve within the first 15 minutes. And it makes no sense to me. It's like you establish this big question mark, and then immediately you're like, you have Hartnett solve it through no effort. Like he just knows. He just knows because he's that cool.
Who is the ghost, right? Who is the ghost? Yeah.
He just figures it out. And we couldn't possibly have, as the audience, there's no clues. He just is that cool that he knows. And the movie becomes, in my opinion, wildly less interesting after we know. It becomes this other sort of buddy movie thing. And I just structurally, this movie makes no sense to me. Like the fun thing would be to like get us on the plane immediately, and then chaos is happening and we don't know why. And oh my gosh, it's revealed who else is on this plane. Instead, we have all this exposition that leads up to it. This is a movie where people are like, as we both know, the ghost is a terrorist who works all around. It's like, why are you saying those words out loud if we both know it? It's total movie exposition style of like, I need to say this for the audience's benefit, but we both know it. Everybody's in the scene doesn't need to say it out loud, but we do need to say it for the audience. This movie is exhausting, not fun, and it sucks because I think Josh Hartnett deserves better. He deserves better than this movie. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see him in star vehicles. I would love to see him as an action hero. Like he looks like he's doing a fair amount of his own choreography here, and he's perfectly competent at it. He could be a movie star, like carrying movies. Should be. He's great. Cast him as Hal Jordan, dude. Like what this guy could. I mean, not that everybody has to be a superhero, but he could be. And I just think this movie is not worth his time, in my opinion.
This movie is one way in which the first John Wick could have gone wrong too. Like trying, like a stunt guy who's not directed a full feature before trying to come into the thing. You're right. Everything you're suggesting, Jeff. Like, yeah, it would be better if you start with Hartnett, start with the mystery. It kind of makes some basic narrative issues. I still had fun with it, but I hear you.
I would agree with both of you guys. Like, I think all the stuff that's not Hartnett, all the stuff that's Nartnet, is Hartnett is terrible. Like all the stuff in the bunker, all the Katie Sackhoff, it is all just really poor on just an execution level. Like it just the acting is not the greatest, the dialogue is not all the people are unlikable. I'm like, what? And what's terrible is, as you guys said, like we spend a lot of time there in the early part of the movie. We spend a lot of time there in the early part.
Don't make me look at the set. Don't make me think too hard about how these people are dressed. This is not helping you.
Those people should be coming in deep into Act 2.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even know about them. Like, who cares about any of those people?
Yeah. This should be a Jason Bourne situation.
Yes.
Right.
He's on a plane.
Well, this is the thing, Devindra, like, I remember watching the Jason Bourne movies, and there's like these endless scenes of David Strathairn and Joan Allen and whatever being like, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. I'm like, oh man, this is kind of boring. All these scenes are kind of one note. Then you kind of realize like how good those scenes actually were because they knew the actual like. They actually knew you don't want to learn too much about those people. You don't want to know too much about that office setting because
you don't start there.
You don't start there.
Start with the mystery.
There is one fun joke in that place where there's like a new guy that nobody understands. Like that's a fun gag, but like not worth.
There is one other thing we can talk about in spoilers, but
which I hated. But
I will say I thought the action was overall pretty great. And one of the cool things about the movie is Josh Hartnett is dressed in like pajamas for most of the movie. And that just makes it harder. Like it makes it harder to do the action in a way that is convincing because they have to wear like padding often. But like if they're wearing pajamas, hard to hide the padding. And, so I thought the way they used Josh Hartnett, they used his wardrobe was very good. It's hard to do good action choreography on a plane. And I thought this movie did a pretty good job. There's not that many movies that I think do good extended action sequences on the actual plane itself. I watched like Hijack with Idris Elba. I watch a lot of these movies, and like a lot of times the action is very limited. There's not very much action, and it's very ambitious to try to do a lot of action on a plane like this. And there's some really cool moments. There's some really shocking moments.
I like how you're acting like it's a real plane.
I know.
Yeah, it's hard to get on an airplane at 30,000 feet.
They're moving so fast.
They filmed this at 30,000 feet. I know for a fact. Explosive decompression actually occurred.
What's the Jason Statham movie where he has to fight on a plane and protect a baby at the same time?
That was one of the Fast. That was
one of the Fast and Furious movies.
That was good stuff. That's a hard boiled.
Good plane.
That's
fighting.
good plane.
Yeah,
that's good plane.
That's good plane.
Good plane. Yeah. But also, this movie only exists because of what you're saying, Jeff. Because of Bullet Train. I was like, can we do cheaper Bullet Train on another form of transportation that is also tight and confined and people can't escape easily?
Bullet Train is so fun with fun characters, fun action sequences. I care about the mystery is actually interesting. Like there's some fun twists. Like this movie has none of the charm of Bullet Train for me.
Really,
David Litch. Let's go full back around. David Litch. Bullet Train.
Yeah,
really
missed opportunity to not call this Bullet Plane for sure.
Listen, double decker. I don't know if you guys have taken any of those like long flights into Asia, but that's kind of what this movie made me feel like. Man, those flights were nice. I used to worry about flying to Taiwan for Computex and be like, oh man, airplane toilets and everything. The nicest goddamn toilets you've ever seen in even like a restaurant. So like this is a double decker plane. It's a luxury plane. I like the setting. Too bad it feels so fake, I guess. Yeah.
All right, let's do a few spoilers for this one. Spoilers for Fight or Flight starting right now. All right. I have to say I did enjoy the reveal that they're not actually working for the government. It's actually a tech company.
So dumb.
Jeff, you were not a fan.
No. I mean, by that point, I was already actively hating the movie.
Yeah.
But also, it's just a dumb.
It makes even less sense.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's one of those like because we can and like we're winking at the audience of like, look how twisty this twist is. Look what we did. Look what we're saying. It's so self-congratulatory. I did not care for it.
Yeah, when you throw a chainsaw into the main character's hand and he says groovy, it's like, yes, I saw that movie too. Come on. You had your chance to do this. I
mean, look, I'll say I did not see that coming, And
really?
It's like, okay, well then
starts with the chainsaw. Then we kind of get a glimpse of the chainsaw.
No, not the chainsaw. The thing I said, Devindra. The thing I did not see coming that
the thing that nobody cares about. Yeah.
But it's like, isn't it fun? Like, do you see? It's the tech company that is cutthroat and killing.
The real power. Oh,
they're the real.
They're the scary big brother.
The real scary
corporate. Ugh, who cares?
Yeah.
It's
not like the movie actually cared about that either. Like that doesn't have any broader impact into the plot other than, oh, look at that little twist. But they might as well be a government agency. Who cares?
I just like the idea of like corporations because there's this whole like cinematic lives of corporations. You remember the movie Duplicity directed by Tony Gilroy?
I'm thinking Duplicity. Yeah.
Right, Duplicity, where it's like the idea behind Duplicity is, there's these like people at the corporations doing corporate espionage. They're tracking their own employees to make sure they're not being sort of marks, right? And they're also infiltrating other companies and like stealing their secrets. And there's these secret meetings where they discuss all their plans, and that's just delightful to me. The idea that might because first of all, I think that happens almost never. It does happen, but it's like extremely rare. So the idea that there's a company that like takes itself so seriously that it has a little bunker and it's like we got to track where all this technology is going and so on. It's just funny to me. It's just fun. It's just a personal thing, because I think it's also very implausible in real life. Anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
It is time for a global reckoning of duplicity. Like, come on, that movie was great. Now we're giving Tony Gilroy praise. Like that movie was also.
I love it. I love that movie.
I love it.
That's like one of my favorite movies of all time. So,
but here the ghost was really doing good things, and we thought the ghost was a big bad terrorist, and no, it's just this girl who has ideas about how the world should be.
How did he figure out it was her? Like that? That's like if you're gonna do one thing, if you're gonna set up a mystery of this like notorious hacker, how did he solve that? And I really have no clue.
No, he's just that cool. He's just that cool that he could tell, and thinks everybody else will be able to tell. And so there we go. And it happens so early in the movie. It's just like, why even make it? The whole thing's dumb. And she somehow went through the interview process to become she's
also a flight attendant, but also just hacked the place and escaped. Like,
well, maybe she hacked her way into being a flight attendant. Who knows?
Well, she had to have a backup. She had to have a cover. And who travels around the world freely? Flight attendants.
And the fact that all the bad guys got on the same flight to get, it's like that entire sequence of being introduced to that one dude who's like, tell me about my choreography. And I was like, what is this? What student film am I watching right now?
It was very silly. Very silly. The first guy. Yeah.
It is interesting to compare this to movies like John Wick and Bullet Train, though. Like, what works about those movies, right, compared to this one? I mean, number one, I would say one of the big differences is star power. Josh Hartnett's great. The rest of the cast isn't Josh Hartnett, whereas in Bullet Train, you have like endless amazing character actors, and Brad Pitt is holding it all together. Keanu Reeves in John Wick chapters, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like, that's a big difference. I think the world building in this movie is not good, and that also makes a huge difference. Like, it's not a world where like, let's peel back some layers on this. Let's like see more what's going on. No one wants that. Whereas that's
don't ask too many questions is what this movie says.
Yeah, that's not the case with like John Wick, where it's like, I want to see what about all those women with the tattoos and the switchboards. Like, I want to see more of their situation. Like there's none of that in this movie. But despite that, guys, out of the 3 movies I've just named, Bullet Train, John Wick, and this one, this is the one movie that is calling its shot and saying there is going to be a sequel. I don't know if you guys are aware, right? But at the very end of the
really bold of them.
I couldn't believe it, honestly. I was like, really? That's unwarranted confidence. That's what that is.
Because
this movie had a production budget of $5 million.
I guess that rate,
is
you
less
can make
than
a
John
sequel.
Wick.
Yeah, it's actually quite impressive that what they were able to achieve for that. No joke.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be mad if there was another one of these. Wouldn't be mad if there was, but it's a lot of confidence.
It made $2 million in this weekend. That's almost $5 million. They're going to get there. They get there.
Up.
Yeah.
That is in fact that is a very rough opening for this movie.
It's really rough. Yeah. Hey, but also more low budget movies. Like I think one of the things I appreciate about John Wick was like, look at what they did with very little money, because that movie didn't have a big budget either, and you can feel the scrappiness of something like that, and you can kind of feel it here too. But you can also feel
definitely
the
feel
it.
I mean,
feel the scrap.
I always root for scrappy movies. I like a scrappy movie, but I think the way you make
you're not rooting for this one, Jeff. So you can't always root for scrappy.
I root in the abstract. I root for scrappy movies. I'm saying the key to a scrappy movie is a good script.
Yes,
right.
I see,
because that's the thing you get first. Everything else you're going to have to be scrappy about, right? Everything else is expensive. You get a good script first, and then you make that scrappy movie out of that good script. This movie had a just atrocious script.
This should have been a streamer. Honestly, like this may have been more effective as like hey, this is like the thing you see late night on TV sometimes. This would be an effective like thing for a streaming platform to kind of highlight. Yeah.
I will give a shout out for the drug induced sequence in this movie. I actually thought it was kind of funny. I enjoyed this drug induced sequence more than I did in like the one in the Fall Guy, for instance. Like
that's one of the best drug-induced sequences of all time in the Fall Guy.
Yeah,
Fall Guy was a lot more creative. I mean, this was like, what can we do in a room with no special effects? What can we do in a room with just the actor?
I'm just a sucker for whenever someone's like viewing some kind of reality, and then you cut to what the actual thing is, and it's very different. Yeah,
that's fun.
It just always gets me every time.
Agreed.
I'm a simple man of pleasures. Yeah,
it's fun.
I like the idea that he gave him like horse tranquilizer, but because Josh Hartnett is just that cool, it doesn't work on him.
Well, no, he was like, you can't pickle vinegar.
You can't.
Essentially.
Like he can't pickle a
pickle.
You can't pickle a pickle.
Yeah,
which is funny.
I think it's funny, but
I wonder if the casting call for this movie was like, do you have like a black pants and white shirt outfit? Just bring that. Just bring that to the interview, and just bring that outfit back when you come to the movie if you get selected, because we need wardrobe help. We need a lot of help.
I am really curious if they're going to make another one of these, but I think they're hoping it would do well at the box office, and it hasn't done well. Maybe if it's like really popular internationally, like they'll be able to
How did this get a wide release?
Yeah,
how did this is kind of wild. Is it just the Hartnett of it all? I guess.
I think
Trap was a hit.
That's true. That's true.
It's a relatively new company called Vertical Entertainment. And so like oftentimes when like a company is relatively new in the distribution space, actually, I don't know. I'm looking at their thing. They actually had a lot of movies.
They've been around for a while.
Movies. Yeah, they've been around for a while. They did Emily the Criminal, good movie that Devindra and I liked. There's a movie called Sacramento that's out on video on demand right now. They did The Order, which actually didn't go that well, in terms of. But anyway, so they're relatively small, and I think they probably still feel like they have something to prove, and that's why they released this one
on 2,000 theater screens.
Yeah, but with probably like a virtually non-existent advertising campaign, and so. It's not going to go well, but it's
that's how to sell a movie, by the way, is put it in physical spaces and don't tell people about it.
Yeah.
Just make it as inconvenient to watch as possible. Yeah. This will be a streaming hit. I feel like people will be all over this. Once this hits Netflix, it'll hit the charts.
Yeah. I think
this does feel like the kind of movie that does well on Netflix. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you guys: Fight or Flight or Havoc?
This movie, Havoc, is too much of a mess. I'm sorry. I was the one who liked Havoc the least. I had better action, but I was more disappointed in that movie because I had no expectations for this one. So,
Jeff, if you had to choose again, Fight or Flight or Havoc?
I will take Havoc over this movie.
Right, because this movie like offends you. This movie offends you. This one, right?
Yeah.
Fight or Flight offends you.
I think so. And Havoc offends me because I know you're better than this. I know you're better than that.
And for me, guys, double feature, baby.
You've just got all the time in the world. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is impressive that James Madigan made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.